How to make router templates in SelfCAD. Hello everyone. This video is a response to a question I received, how you can make router templates. I've not received a specific request for which type of shapes, so I've done here something very basic, but while teaching certain features, tools that I think may be helpful while designing custom shapes for routers. Okay, so I've actually recorded tutorials. I'm going to load the tutorial and we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show over here is I'm going to use a drawing. So there's a few ways you can create objects in most CAD software. You can use basic shapes or you can use drawing. And I think when it comes to custom design for routers, you're most likely going to be using drawings. So that's why I started with a drawing. So I do a 3D sketch, and the first thing I want to draw is a simple rectangle. And what I want to do now here is I want to set it to precision so I can draw straight. So this is just still setting up the scene so I can draw straight. Okay, so now when I draw straight, the thing that I did over here, I switched precision and then I checked on, I forgot to show what I did. I clicked on grid vertices, which is an option that allows me to snap to grid vertices. So we have a grid, if you see this, and by now it will snap to anything. You can change your grid sizes in the workspace settings. The default has grids which are 50 by 50. So I'm clicking here on one grid vertex and then I click over here quite far and then I click over here down. I just did it kind of a big brush to look a big rectangle, so I have kind of a big canvas to draw on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start making the first shape. So this is the basic plane that I'm going to use, and I'm going to start adding shapes. And to do that, I'm still using a rectangle, but I'm going to add an edge. And you see soon what this is. I'm going to make this to 2. So, and now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw again a rectangle, simply clicking here, and down. So I have a rectangle here which is 100 by 100. That's basically based on 2 by 2 grid boxes. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on a circle, and what I'm going to do now here is also, let's say, turn on a circle, and I'm going to turn on the wireframe. So this is what you see what happened here. So the first rectangle that I drew had the minimum edges, and in that case it has this big rectangle that has only 4 vertices at the corners. Now the second rectangle that I made to 2 has a vertex on each center as well. And now when I'm going to use a circle, I have edges, 32 edges, which is the default circle. That's fine, that's quite smooth. You actually don't need that much, or you can make it even more or less, doesn't matter, but I leave it the default. But the main thing what I did over here, I changed is that I have these vertices. And the way this is helpful, that now I can draw my circle snapping to this grid vertex, and I snap it here to here. I'll do the same on this side, snap it here and snap it here. So what I end up doing over here is that I have this rectangle filled up with circles. And now I'm going to deactivate this, and I'm going to activate my selection. And I'm simply going to select all of the inside. So SelfCAD automatically cuts everything. So while we have this intersection, it cut everything and it's very easy to select. So I'm simply selecting the inside and I click delete, and I have this shape ready. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to a circle, and I'm unchecking this profile because I want to make a new profile. You'll see soon why. So I'm clicking here again and here, so I have a big circle, and I'm going to rename this to path. Okay, and the reason I need to rename it because I'm going to draw another circle. I need to see which one is the path and which one is the other thing that you're going to see soon. So now I'm going to draw uncheck it again. Every time I uncheck it, makes a new profile. So now when I continue drawing, so now I click here, and now I use, instead of snapping to grid vertices, I'm going to use the option over here to type in a value. So I'm going to type in a value of 20. And now I click to finalize it. So I have this circle. So this is why it's important to know which one is what, because I have here another circle here, and then I have the path. So I need to select the circle that I want to follow the path. And I'm selecting now the path. And now I go to the tool that is called follow path. So the second circle, which we call over here profile 3, is basically going to follow the path. So it doesn't really matter what the name is, it's just a reference for myself that I know what's happening. And I go to follow path, and in follow path, I'm simply going to use a default, which is going to make 10 copies. And so I just click finalize, and it makes 10 copies like this. Okay, So now what I'm going to do here is, I'm fine with this, I just want to select also the path. So I'm going to click here to select the path. You see the first one that is still black, it's not selected. This is the initial one we started with, and we use that to basically follow around, but the initial one stays over here. And I actually didn't need it to draw it over here. I could have drawn it any place. It's just for reference to me, I drew it here, but it doesn't matter. When you use follow path, you can draw the path any other location, the profile that it's going to follow. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge it. I'm going to use simply Control M, but you see over here the options. You can choose merge or use Control. You see you have the merge from here. It's also available in the I haven't used it from here, but when you use it from combine, then it will show you in the combine. But I use simply Control M, and I merge them all together. Okay, so now once they're all merged, we have the same situation that we had in the initial shape where I had intersections. But now to go and start picking all of these to clean up will be quite tedious. So I did this on purpose to show you another tool. So now I'm going to use Geometry Clean. And in Geometry Clean, there's a feature called Remove Inner Edges. And I'm going to finalize. So it removed all of the inner edges. So we got this kind of, basically circular, all these circles around shape, which is quite a nice shape. Okay, so now I'm going to scale this down because I wanted to get the x-axis to make it just by 75. So we get kind of a shape like this. So, and then close it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the main shape and I'm going to merge it again. So I'm merging the shapes and now they're all combined. So what happened now here is that we have a big polygon, and in this big polygon, which is a rectangle, we have two other polygons. One's the initial shape that I drew, and then this shape that I used. So both of these shapes. And now what I'm going to do here is I want to make room actually before I'm going to convert this to a mesh. I want to make room to be able to draw more shapes on it. So I'm going to go to the polygon selection and I'm going to select this, and I think I selected this as well. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so two of this. I select both of them and I'm going simply to move it to make the X to 1/8. So this is basically moved away. I should have actually moved it even more, but it doesn't matter. It's just making sure we have enough space to draw, and I'm going to deselect everything. Okay. So now I'm going to go, once I have now this done, the shape. So here's what I wanted to show you. So there's actually two main ways you can create holes. So the first one is like this. I just made a drawing and then I'm simply going to extrude, and that's it, basically finalizing it. So I have this shape done. You see, you don't need to see the triangles anymore, so I'm just going to solid mode, and this is basically done with this shape. Now I want to show how we're going to have another option to cut using the basic cutting. So if you go with basic shapes and simply want to cut out pieces, so I'm going to go now to the move tool for that. If I need to cut, I need to have something that's going to stick from up to the down and have enough room to go down below. So I'm simply going to move up my object, and I'm moving it up to 5, simply moving it up and closing it. Okay, so now what we have here is I'm going to select now, deselect this shape, and I'm going to select the profile. You see the small circle that we had, that it's still here below, and I'm going to extrude that as well to convert it into a mesh, and I'm going to convert it to 20. So in this case, if you zoom in, you see it sticks out here, and it also sticks out in the bottom. That's what you need to cutting. And I'm going to position it, just to position it where I need space. So at this time I use simply this gizmo. You see it's highlighted, the center gizmo, and it's highlighted where I need to snap it to, over here. Simply moved it over here. And I also made a copy, and then I moved the copy to, I used, looks like this gizmo, and moved it to here. Okay, so I made a copy over here, and now I'm going to scale this to enter the value to 60. And so basically we got this oval shape over here. So this was just nothing really needed, just to show you different options. So we already have two shapes that sticks out of this mesh. One shape over here, one shape, a circle over here. And now I'm going to add another shape to show you a freehand drawing. And what you're going to see in freehand drawing is two things. First of all, you see we have the option over here that we can have different shapes, rounded, square, flat. So the default is rounded, I leave it. So actually if you make the shape that I drawn over here, you can make this automatically with this, and the size of it is 20. You can obviously increase it to make a size like this, but I leave the basic default size now. But now I don't have the grid over here where to draw on. And in fact, I'm going to draw on the grid, but it's below and I can't really see what to do. So in the precision settings, I'm going again to precision settings, but instead of grid vertices, I'm going to use here to minimum angle step size. And we had this option actually in the freehand drawing and the 3D sketch also that we used before. This is one of the options in the precision settings. So minimum angle step size means that I can click in any place. So you see I click over here, but now I cannot go unless I have a big angle. So now it's easy, if my hand shakes a little bit, it will still be straight because I can only go big steps and then I can see it. And obviously you can increase the size of the steps. I love the default 15, which is usually just fine. And now I'm going to click again here. So we got this shape, which actually is very similar to this shape, just smaller in size, but the same idea, much simpler to create. And the other thing that is simpler with this drawing is that now if I finalize it, I get a ready shape. I don't have to go to extrude anything. It automatically extruded, and the default is 20. There's an option over there to change the size as well, height settings, but the default is 20, which is fine. So now I have basically 4 shapes. I have my basic shape, then I have these 3 shapes that we're going to cut out. So I'm going to select all of them actually, all of the shapes, and I'm going to go to Stitch and Scoop, and I'm going to choose the option, the difference, to subtract what I want to do, and it tells me select the objects to subtract. So I'm going to choose to subtract all of the options that I want to subtract and simply finalize it. And now look what happens. So this basically cut out the shape, and that's it. So now I'm just going to invert select to clean up and delete, click on delete to delete my profiles. And that's basically it, how you create these shapes. So I hope you've learned something new. They're very basic, and obviously you may design your own shapes, but this is just teaching you a few things how you can work with custom shapes. And the main thing is the 2 different ways of cutting. One is create them from scratch the way you do the drawing, or use Stitch and Scoop with shapes and cut out one from another. Okay, thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you want me to show anything else. Bye.